Hey there. Ever get that feeling like you're standing on the edge of some massive life change?
Oh, absolutely.
Like you're about to step into a whole new chapter?
Yeah.
That's exactly where we find the Israelites in the book of Deuteronomy.
Right.
They're about to enter the promised land.
Wow.
After like years of wandering in the wilderness.
Huge transition.
Talk about a transition, right?
Totally.
So today, we're taking this deep dive into Deuteronomy, chapters 10 through 12,
Right.
to see what we can glean from their journey,
I like it.
especially when it comes to obedience, blessings, and navigating change in general.
Absolutely.
So, okay, let's jump right into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Deuteronomy chapter 10.
Okay.
Picture this. Moses is back down from Mount Sinai
Okay.
with those epic stone tablets.
Right. The 10 Commandments.
But wait a minute, didn't this already happen?
It did. The first set. Yeah. Those didn't fare so well.
Not quite. They met an unfortunate end.
They did, which is important. Right. That act, that breaking of the covenant,
Right.
which was a huge deal back then.
Big time.
Formal agreement between the Israelites and God.
Exactly.
And smashing those tablets, that really drives home the point that something was broken, you know?
It's a powerful image.
It is.
But then we get this incredible moment of like renewal.
We do.
God tells Moses to carve new tablets.
Wow. A second chance.
Deuteronomy 10.4 even emphasizes that God himself actually rewrote the commandments on the second set.
It's true. It says, and he wrote on the tablets.
Like, it's not just a do-over. It's like God saying, I'm in this with you. I'm rewriting these for you.
Exactly. It's a powerful visual, a fresh start. Makes you think, have there ever been times in your life, you know, where you just needed to hit the reset button, clean slate, start fresh?
Totally. Like, we all mess up. We all have those moments.
At the time.
But this is a reminder that renewal, forgiveness, they're possible.
Absolutely.
Even when we, totally stumble.
Even then.
Okay, so while those 10 commandments, they might seem like, pretty straightforward rules.
On the surface, yeah.
Deuteronomy 10.1 through 13, it hints at something much deeper, I think.
It does.
It's not just about the outward actions.
Right.
But about aligning like your heart and your soul with something much bigger.
Absolutely. It's about that inner transformation.
Yes.
So we see this call to action, right? Fear, walk in all his ways, love, serve. These aren't suggestions. Active verbs, engaged relationship with a higher purpose.
Right, exactly. It's about striving to embody these values in our everyday lives.
In everything we do.
Making choices that reflect those deeper principles.
Right, letting those values guide us.
It's pretty amazing how these ideas, from all that time ago, they still resonate so much today,
That's true.
Even now, people are still searching for that sense of purpose, that connection to something beyond, like, the material world.
Absolutely. That yearning for something bigger than ourselves, it's a constant throughout history,
It is.
It is.
It's fascinating.
It is.
So, okay, with that foundation in place, we move to Deuteronomy 11.
Okay.
And things get, I would say, a little more intense.
Yeah, the stakes get higher.
They do. The Israelites are on the verge of this incredible new life.
They are.
But it comes with a very clear message, I would say.
Yeah.
Embrace this way of life. And you'll thrive, you'll prosper, stray from it.
Yeah.
And well, there will be consequences.
There will.
Like, it lays out the stakes pretty clearly,
It does.
Deuteronomy 11.10 to 12. It goes so far as to compare life in Egypt.
Yeah.
Which was a time of, real hardship for them.
Right. Slavery, oppression.
Exactly.
Backbreaking labor.
It compares that to the promised land.
Right.
Which is depicted as this place of, abundance and blessing.
Milk and honey, right.
Exactly.
The good life.
But it's not just about, like the physical location, right?
Right.
It's about choosing a different way of life. One based on like aligning with something larger, something beyond just human effort.
Right. It's about trusting in something bigger than yourself.
Exactly.
Having faith that you're not in this alone.
Okay, but it's not all, sunshine and rainbows in this chapter.
Right. There are warnings too.
Chapter 11 is full of warnings about the dangers of straying from the path.
It's a cautionary tale too.
Like, for example, the allure of idols.
Yes.
Which, to really get this, we have to think about the historical context.
Right. Put ourselves in their shoes.
Imagine you're this newly formed nation.
Trying to find your way.
Trying to figure out your identity.
Exactly.
Surrounded by cultures with totally different belief systems.
Very different worldviews.
And these warnings about idols, they weren't just like some abstract concept,
Oh, no.
This was a real threat. It's
The
like,
Israelites being so easily influenced by their neighbor.
right, the pull of the familiar.
And potentially, getting pulled in different directions.
Absolutely.
And losing sight of their own developing beliefs and values.
Right, losing their sense of self, their identity.
It's interesting how, these ancient concerns about idols,
Mm-hmm.
they can feel like surprisingly relevant even today, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely.
It makes you wonder,
Yeah.
like, what are our modern day idols, right?
Right.
Instead of like bowing down to statues,
Yeah.
we might find ourselves captivated by all sorts of other things.
Totally.
Things that, promise fulfillment, but can lead us astray.
Absolutely. It's like the allure is still there, just in different forms.
Exactly. Like, what comes to mind for you? Well, for one, the relentless pursuit of wealth and status,
Oh, yeah.
We might start with good intentions, like wanting financial security, but it can easily become this all-consuming thing,
That's true.
leading us to compromise our values, our relationships.
It's like it can take over, right?
It can, and then there's the whole pressure of social media.
Oh, yeah.
These carefully curated images, this need to project a certain image.
Right. It's easy to get caught up in the comparison game.
Totally, and it can be so damaging,
It can.
We lose sight of what truly matters.
Yeah, it's like we're constantly bombarded with distractions these days.
Right, it's overwhelming.
Pulling us away from meaningful connections.
Exactly, we forget to listen to our own inner compass,
It's so true.
Those things, they can easily become our idols if we're not careful.
Right. It's about recognizing what we're giving our time and energy to
Exactly, what are we prioritizing?
and asking ourselves,
Yeah.
like, does this actually align with my values?
Right, does this lead me towards my own personal promised land?
Ooh, I like that.
Right, it's about that journey,
It is.
making conscious choices.
Okay, so speaking of journeys,
Mm.
Deuteronomy
Mhm.
chapter 12 takes us on a bit of a fascinating twist, I would say.
Oh, how so?
So the Israelites are told to tear down the worshiping places of the people they're displacing.
Okay.
But then
Yeah.
they're commanded to establish like a single centralized place of worship for themselves.
Interesting. So it's like a complete reversal.
It almost seems contradictory, right?
It does on the surface.
Yeah, it's a curious shift.
It is, but it makes sense when you consider the context.
Okay, I'm listening.
So remember, this is a nation with, let's say, a history of dabbling in other belief systems.
Right. They're easily swayed sometimes.
Exactly. So this designated sacred space, it acted as this powerful symbol,
Okay,
a constant reminder of their covenant with God.
I see. A visual cue.
Exactly. It fostered a sense of shared identity,
Right, like a unifying force.
Exactly. It helped prevent them from drifting too far from their own beliefs.
That's so interesting how, like, physical spaces can hold so much weight,
It's true. They shape our thoughts, our
Yeah.
beliefs.
even our behaviors.
Absolutely.
It's a concept that, like, transcends time and culture, really.
Think about it. We still gather in specific places to connect with something bigger than ourselves.
That's true.
Churches, temples, mosques.
Right, even just, like, community centers,
Exactly. Places where we find belonging, purpose.
It's fascinating.
And from a historical perspective,
Yeah.
this centralized place of worship also served as a safeguard against syncretism.
Syncretism.
Yeah, the blending of different
Ooh,
religions,
right.
which often led to, a dilution or distortion of the original beliefs.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So having this dedicated space, it was like it helped the Israelites maintain the integrity of their faith.
Precisely. It was like creating a spiritual boundary in a world of diverse influences.
Wow, that's a powerful image.
It is. And isn't it something we still grapple with today?
What do you mean?
Well, maintaining the integrity of our beliefs, whatever they may be,
Yeah,
in the midst of all this information, all these perspectives.
right. It's a lot to navigate.
It is. It's a delicate dance, trying to stay true to ourselves while also being open to the world.
Totally. It's like finding that balance.
Exactly.
But, okay, how does this idea of a centralized place of worship, how does that translate to our lives today?
Right.
Like, we're not all expected to, converge on a single location.
No, not literally.
Right.
But maybe it's about finding those spaces, physical or metaphorical,
Yeah.
where we connect most deeply with what truly matters.
I like that.
Places where we feel a sense of belonging, purpose, alignment.
Our own personal sacred spaces.
Exactly.
Like, instead of a physical temple, we're being asked to cultivate that inner sanctuary,
Yes.
that sacred space within ourselves,
Exactly.
where we can connect with that something bigger.
It's about finding our own promised land, wouldn't you say?
Oh, I like that.
Both internally and externally.
Right, where our actions and our aspirations, they're aligned.
Exactly.
And we feel that true sense of belonging.
Absolutely.
This deep dives into Deuteronomy, I've got to say, it's been like incredibly insightful.
It's amazing how these ancient texts,
I know.
they still speak to us today.
They do. Thousands of years ago, but it's still so relevant.
It's about the human experience, you know?
It is.
Yeah.
It's timeless.
It's amazing how these chapters, they connect the personal and the collective.
Absolutely.
It's not just about like me following the rules.
Yeah.
It's about like how we create a society where those values are just woven in
Exactly.
into the very fabric of like how we live and interact with each other.
It's about building a better world together, you know?
Yes. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Deuteronomy, chapters 10 through 12. Okay.
What are some key takeaways our listeners can like carry with them?
Well, I think the biggest one is remembering that true obedience.
Yeah.
It's not about blindly following rules.
Mm-hmm.
It's about cultivating that deep, meaningful relationship
Yes.
with those core values, those guiding principles
Absolutely.
that lead us to a more fulfilling, a more purposeful life.
It's about aligning our actions with our aspirations.
Exactly.
Not just as individuals, but as a community,
Yes.
striving for something bigger than ourselves.
And as we embrace those blessings, remember, we also have a responsibility
Oh, yeah.
to stay true to those values.
To resist those modern day idols.
Exactly, the things that can lead us astray.
Right. Which might look different for each of us.
Absolutely.
But recognizing them, choosing to prioritize what truly matters.
It's a lifelong practice, really.
It is.
Constantly evaluating, asking ourselves,
Asking ourselves what?
is this in alignment with my values?
Ooh.
Does this lead me closer to or further from my own personal promised land?
Powerful questions.
They are.
And finally, I love this idea of finding our own personal place of worship.
Yes.
Whether it's like a physical space,
Mm-hmm.
a community, a daily practice, that quiet space within ourselves.
It's about nurturing our connection to something greater.
Yeah.
Finding that ground of being.
It's been an incredible journey through Deuteronomy.
It has.
And, you know, it prompts us to consider if we see Deuteronomy as this guidebook, right?
Okay.
For
Yeah.
navigating those inevitable changes of life
Life's full of them.
and building a life that's actually aligned with our values.
Yeah.
What does our own personal promised land even look like?
That's the question, isn't it?
What are the commandments, so to speak?
Mm-hmm.
Those guiding principles that light our path along the way.
That's the real dope dive.
It is. It's that ongoing exploration
That is.
of our own unique journeys of transformation
Absolutely.
and meaning making. Well, until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning,
Keep exploring.
and keep diving deep into those boundless realms of knowledge and wisdom that are out there.
Welcome to Charlie and Mia's podcast. We're embarking on an exciting journey to read through the entire Bible in just 1 year. Every day, we dive into Scripture, exploring its meanings and how it applies to our lives today. We invite you to join us on this incredible adventure of learning and discovery. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss an episode.